Renaissance in Kerala. This syllabus covers the pivotal era of the Kerala Renaissance, a period of intense social transformation that shifted Kerala from a lunatic asylum of casteism, as once called by Swami Vivekananda, into a modern egalitarian society. Kerala Renaissance was a pivotal period of socio-cultural transformation that challenged the rigid caste hierarchy and paved the way for a modern egalitarian society driven by education, missionary work, and grassroots revolts. It redefined the identity of the state. The foundation, education and modernization. That means there was Western influence and infrastructure. The new society or the transition towards a new society didn't emerge in a vacuum. It was built or it was triggered by the introduction of Western education and infrastructure. It was built on the back of institutional changes brought largely by European missionaries, CMS, LMS, Basel Mission. Education, there was this breaking the monopoly of the elite by opening schools to all castes. And there was this printing press, the 1821 press at Kottayam, revolutionized the spread of ideas and news. And there was economic shift. The establishment of tile factories and textile mills created a new working class, slowly eroding traditional feudal dependencies. So there was this crucial role of missionaries, organizations like the London Missionary Society, Church Mission Society, and the Basel Mission played a very crucial role. They didn't just preach, they built schools that were open to all castes. Then the infrastructure of change was that the establishment of the first printing presses like the CMS press in Kottayam allowed for the mass distribution of literature and news, while the opening of factories like the Basel Mission tile factories provided employment outside the traditional caste-based occupations. Socio-religious reform movements. So these organizations were the engines of change, each focusing on uplifting specific communities while collectively pushing for human rights. So there were various communities formed, called Sabhas or societies to fight internal social evils and external discrimination. First of all, SNDP Yogam. The key founder or leader was Sri Narayana Guru. And the primary focus of this organization was the upliftment of the Irava community. One caste, one religion, one God. Then Nair Service Society. The key founder or leader was Mannathu Padmanabhan. And the prime focus was reforming Nair customs like Tali Kettu Kalyanam and education. Rights for Dalits especially, social integration and modernization of the Nair community. And the next was Sadhu Jana Paripalana Sangham. The key founder and leader was Ayyangali. And the primary focus was the rights for Dalits, Pulayas, especially for their education and freedom of movement. And the next is Yogakshema Sabha. Key founder or leader was V.T. Bhattathiripad. And the primary focus was the reformation of the Nambudiri community, within the Nambudiri community against polygamy, for women's rights. Then Sahodara Prasthanam. The key founder or leader was Sahodara Nayyappan, and the primary focus was the promotion of interdining, Misra Bhojanam, and the caste barriers, the abolition of castes. Struggles and social revolts. This is the action part of the syllabus. Okay, these movements were often incremental steps towards the ultimate goal of equality. The Renaissance was marked by direct confrontation with oppressive traditions. So there was this fight for dignity, the Channar agitation, upper cloth revolt. It was a long struggle from 1822 to 1859 for the right of lower caste women, Nadar women, for the right to cover their upper bodies, to wear upper garments, marking an early victory against caste-based dress codes. Then the memorials, the Malayali memorial in 1891 and Irava memorial in 1896 were formal petitions to the Maharaja demanding fair representation in government jobs. Then there was this temple entry and public space, Vaikom Sathyagraha in 1924 to 25. This was the first organized stir for the right of untouchables to see the roads to use the roads near the Vaikom temple. It was led by T.K. Madhavan and supported by Gandhiji, and it fought for the right of the lower caste to walk on the roads. The use the roads means to walk on the roads leading to the Vaikom temple. Then Guruvayoor Sathyagraha in 1931 to 32. It was led by K.K. Yelappan to allow all Hindus entry into the temple, to secure temple entry for all Hindus. Then there were the landmark political and legal milestones. It is temple entry proclamation in 1936 was a landmark decree by Chittira Tirunal Balarama Varma opening temples in Travancore to all Hindus. It was a miracle of modern times. Okay, the memorials I have already told, which were mass petitions seeking fair representation for locals and oppressed classes in government jobs. Then coming to the abstention movement, Nivartana agitation, a protest by Christians, Muslims and Iravas against the constitutional reforms of 1932, demanding representation based on population. So it was a protest by Iravas, Muslims and Christians against the constitutional reforms of 1932, demanding proportional representation in the legislature. There was this Malabar riot in 1921. It was a complex uprising in North Kerala that blended agrarian grievances with the Khilafat and nationalist movements. So, the summary is that the movement shifted Kerala from being what Swami Vivekananda once called a lunatic asylum of casteism into a progressive state. It successfully linked spiritual reform with material progress, emphasizing that social freedom is a prerequisite for political independence. Then, coming to the second half of our syllabus, the role of press, which focuses on the tools of the Renaissance, how ideas were spread through the printing press, how literature challenged the status quo, and how women transitioned from the private sphere to the forefront of social agitation. So the Renaissance in Kerala wasn't just fought on the streets. It was won through the ink of journalists, the imagination of the writers, and the bravery of women who broke centuries of domestic confinement. The power of press, the fourth estate of reform or the voice of reform. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, the press in Kerala wasn't just for news, it was a weapon against social injustice and royal autocracy. In Kerala, newspapers were not, as I said, not merely news outlets, they were weapons against colonial rule and caste oppression. Political radicalism or political courage through Swadeshabhimani. It was edited by Swadeshabhimani Ramakrishna Pillai. He used his paper to expose the corruption of the Travancore Divan, leading to his exile. Its fearless criticism led to Pillai's deportation. Vaikom Abdul Qadir Maulavi founded Al-Amin to promote nationalism and reform among Muslims. Then community awakening, caste or for caste and social upliftment. Vivekodayam by Kumaran Ashan. It was a mouthpiece of SNDP, carrying the message of Srinarayana Guru. Then Kerala Kaumadi founded by C.V. Kunyiraman. It also, the primary focus of this newspaper was also for the cause of social equality. It championed the Irava cause. And Medavadi, it was edited by C. Krishnan. It was known as the Bible of the Tiyas. It was vital for the Irava movement in Malabar. Then national ferment, nationalism and literature. Madhrubhumi by K.P. Keshava Menon became the voice of the freedom struggle in Malabar. And Al-Amin also, where was instrumental in linking Kerala's social reform to the Indian independence movement. Then Malayalam Manorama and Bhasha Bhushani by Kandathil Varghese Mappilai played a pivotal role in modernizing the Malayalam language and literature. Then intellectual and rationalist, Yuktivadi by Sahodara Ayyappan challenged the religious superstitions and promoted scientific temper, while Kesari by A. Balakrishna Pillai introduced global literary and political trends to Kerala. Awakening through literature and arts. Literature shifted from praising gods or deities and kings to depicting the struggles of the common man. The early novels like Indulega by Chandu Menon tackled the themes of education and the decay of the feudal Marumakkatayam system. And there was a rise of the noble, because it tackled the themes of education and marriage reforms. Then drama, Nadaga Prasthanam. Plays became tools for social revolution. Plays like Adikkalayil Ninna Arangathekku, From the Kitchen to the Stage by B.T. Bhattadaripad, fought against the seclusion of Nambudiri women. It revolutionized the Nambudiri community by highlighting the plight of women. Then the big three, poetry, Kumaranashan, Vallatol Narayana Menon and Ulluras Parameshwaraya, transformed poetry into a vehicle for social change. Chandala Bhikshagi and Gurunathan. Then Purogamana Sahitya Prasthanam, the progressive literature movement focused on art for social good, depicting the lives of peasants and laborers. Then I forgot about the very important drama Ningalanne Communist Taki by KPSC. It galvanized the masses towards leftist ideologies. Then coming to the library movement led by P.N. Panikkar, the father of the library movement. The Granthashala Sangham. So this movement ensured that the Renaissance wasn't just for the urban elite, but reached every village through local libraries. It ensured the awakening reached every village through books. Then women and social change. Women in Kerala didn't just benefit from the Renaissance, they led it. They fought on two fronts, against colonial rule and against internal social evils like the Parda system and forced marriages. They were the subjects of reform and the leaders of the movement, fighting double oppression. So, Akkama Cheriyan. She was known as a Jhansi Rani of Travancore and led the historic protest march to the Maharaja's palace to the Raj Bhavan in 1938. A.V. Kuttimalu Amma, a very prominent leader of the civil disobedience movement, and famously went to jail with her 2-month-old baby. Anna Chandi, the first female judge in India and the British Empire. She was also a pioneer for women in the legal profession, legal rights. Arya Pallam and Parvati Ninmeni Mangalam. They are key figures in the Yogakshema Sabha who led the movement to shatter the inner quarters, Andarjanam of the household. They led the movement against the Parda or Khosha system among Nambudiri women and advocated for widow remarriage. Lalitambika Andarjanam. She was a prolific writer who used her stories like Agnisakshi to expose the plight of women, the inner cloister struggles of Nambudiri women, within the community itself. Her writing was very powerful. Then Lalita Prabhu. She was a dedicated social worker who played a major role in uplifting of the downtrodden Malabar. So the key milestone was the transformation of the Andarjanam, the transition of Nambudiri women from being Andarjanams, those who live inside, to active public participants through the Yogakshema Sabha and Andarjana Samajam remains one of the most radical shifts in Kerala history. Leaders of Renaissance. These leaders challenged the caste system by redefining spirituality and establishing new social orders. They reinterpreted religion to focus on human dignity rather than ritual purity. Vaikom Swamigal, the first to lead a revolt against untouchability in Travancore. He was one among the early pioneers. The other one was Thaikadaya. He founded Samathwa Samajam. Vaikom Swamigal founded Samathwa Samajam in 1836, one of the first organized reform movements in India. Sri Narayana Guru, the central figure of the Renaissance. He is the greatest icon of Kerala Renaissance. His slogan or philosophy, one caste, one religion, one God for man, revolutionized Kerala. And the consecration of the Arivippuram Shiva temple bypassed Brahmanical monopoly. Chattambi Swamigal, a contemporary of Guru who worked to reclaim the Vedas for non-Brahmins and challenge the priestly monopoly. He worked for the upliftment of Nairs and challenged the Vedas' exclusivity to Brahmins. Prachina Malayalam. Ayyangali, the Pulaya king who fought for the right of Dalits to walk on public roads, Villuvandi Yatra, and for children to enter schools. Brahmananda Shivayogi and Vagpadananda. They focused on rationalism and Ananda Adarsha, religion of bliss, rejecting idol worship. Blessed Elias Kuriakose Chavara. He was a pioneer in education who started the Pallikudam attached to every church. Institutional builders and reformers. These leaders fought for the basic civil rights of marginalized groups. They organized their communities into powerful social blocs to demand rights. Dr. Palpu, the political father of the Eeravas. He was a driving force behind the Eerava Memorial, the Eerava community who lobbied the government. Mannathu Padmanabhan, founder of the Nair Service Society. He led the Savarna Jada during the Vaikom Sathyagraha. Vaikom Abdul Khader Maulavi, known as the father of Muslim Renaissance in Kerala. He promoted English education, modern education, and religious reform within the community, that means Muslim community. Sahodara Ayyappan, a radical follower of Narayana Guru who organized Misra Bhojanam, interdining, to break caste taboos. Pandit K.P. Karuppan, known as the Lincoln of Kerala, he worked for the upliftment of the Arayas, fishermen, and used literature, Jadi Kummi, to attack caste. Poigail Yohanan Kumaraguru, he founded the PRDS to address the dual discrimination, caste and religion, faced by Dalit Christians. Then Ayyangali also, he was known as the Pulaya king who fought for the right to walk on public roads and for Dalit children to attend schools. Next, the political activists and freedom fighters. These leaders bridged the gap between social reform and the national movement for independence. They transitioned the social movement into a political struggle for representation. K. Kelappan is known as Kerala Gandhi. He was the face of the Vaikom and Guruvayoor Satyagrahas. He led the Guruvayoor Sathyagraha and Salt Satyagraha in Payyanur. A.K. Gopalan, AKG, and P. Krishna Pillai. They were the pioneers of the communist movement in Kerala, who shifted the focus towards the right of peasants and laborers. They represented the shift towards a leftist or socialist movement organizing workers and peasants. T.K. Madhavan, the architect of the Vaikom Sathyagraha, he brought the issue of untouchability to the national stage. C. Keshavan, his famous Koranjeri speech and leadership in the abstention movement defined the struggle for responsible government. This made him a hero of the masses. Literary giants, the pen as the sword of revolution. So they used Malayalam literature to dismantle social hierarchies and romanticize the struggle of the commoner. These writers moved away from Sanskritized elitism to people's literature. First of all, the poetry trio, Ashan, Ullur, Vallatol. They shifted poetry from Sanskritized elitism to social realism. Ashan's Chandala Bhikshugi and Vallatol's nationalist poems redefined Kerala's soul. Then coming to novelist O. Chandumenon, C.V. Raman Pillai. Indulekha was the first major social novel in Malayalam. It criticized the decaying feudal or matrilineal system. Then social realism. Bashir, Tagari, Keshav Dev, they were progressive writers and they wrote about the hunger, the poor and the untouchables with a raw realism. The lives of the marginalized. Tottiyude Magan, Balyakala Sakhi. Then Kuttipura M.C. Joseph. He belonged to the radicals and he promoted the rationalism, Yuktivadam and atheism. So you should check the lower caste upliftment, Ayyangali, Poigel Yohanan, Pandit Karuppan, Muslim reform, Vakka Maulavi, Mamburam Tangal, Makti Tangal, Brahmin or Nambudiri reform, V.T. Bhattadaripada, Kurur Neelagandan, rationalism or science, Brahmananda Shivayogi, Vagpadananda, Sahodara Ayyappan. And Vaikom Swamigal formed Samatha Samajam, Srinarayana Guru formed SNDP Yogam, Mannathu Padmanabhan formed NSS, Nair Service Society, Vakka Maulavi formed the Islam Dharma Paripalana Sangham, V.T. Bhattadaripada formed Yogakshema Sabha, and Sahodara Ayyappan formed Sahodara Prasthanam.